You're about to listen to a short excerpt from The Fight, a frank discussion, strategy, and plan for working on desire.
The Gemara in Sukkah tells us, Lasid Lovo, at the end of days, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take the Yetzer Hara, will take the Satan, V'shachto, Hashem will kill him, B'fnei Tzadikim, B'nei HaRashaim, in front of the righteous and in front of the wicked. And the Gemara explains, Halalu Bochim, V'halalu Bochim. Both groups will be crying bitter, bitter tears. The Tzadikim cry because in that moment they see him as a mighty, powerful mountain. And they say to themselves, how could we have conquered this? The Rishonim cry because they see him as a thin thread. How could we have fallen for such a little obstacle? How could we have destroyed ourselves? It explains the Gemara, that's the way of desire, the way of the Yetzer Hara. It starts out as a thin thread, and when you give in, it becomes thicker and thicker and thicker until you're tied to the chair with powerful bonds that you can't escape. I'd like to ask a very obvious question on this Gemara. I understand why the wicked would be crying. At that moment in time, Mashiach comes, it's the end of days, and every human being understands life. With a clarity of understanding, like the sun at midday, suddenly the veil is lifted and everyone gets it. They see the tremendous accomplishments of a mitzvah, the tremendous damage of a sin, and the Rishonim, the wicked people, recognize their folly, their stupidity. I ruined my life. I get it. I understand why they cry. But why are the Tzaddikim crying? Okay, they see a powerful mountain. They see what the Satan was, what he could have been. But why are you crying? And the Maharsha is bothered by this question, and the Maharsha explains why they cry. He says they cry because at that moment the Tzaddikim recognize how beautiful that friend was. They recognize how on the job he was 24/7, 364. Hashem created the Satan, and Hashem created the Yetzer Hara for one reason, to challenge man. And he's there constantly challenging me, constantly raising the bar. And in that moment of clarity, the Tzaddikim get it. They recognize how valuable he was. And if you'd like to understand an interesting phenomena, you ever notice you could be doing really well and conquering desire, and you're growing, and all of a sudden she's there, and she wasn't supposed to be there. And what are you doing here? And how did it happen? Well, I'll explain it to you. In the world, there is something called the Satan. And the Satan's job is to trap you, to entrap you, to ensnare you, to get you to fail. But not because he's bad, and not because Hashem wanted to create something evil. His job is to constantly raise the bar, constantly challenge you to grow, much like a personal trainer who's going to always push you a little bit more. He knows how much you can handle, and he'll constantly push you a little bit more, and constantly push you almost to the breaking point, but not quite. In that moment of clarity, the Tzaddikim recognize the beauty of the Yetzer Hara, the beauty of the Satan. They cry because they recognize what they were able to accomplish then, they can never again accomplish. You see, in this world of darkness that we live in, if I battle the battle, if I fight the fight, I grow, I accomplish, that's something that you can't do when Mashiach comes. Because then everyone gets it. Everything is clear. The battle is over. But now in the time of darkness, if I conquer, if I grow, even if I lose some, but I win some, I grow, I become tremendous. The Tzaddikim in that moment have a clarity of understanding. They begin crying because they recognize what an opportunity life was. They recognize their best friend was the Satan.
You've been listening to a short excerpt from The Fight, a frank discussion, strategy, and plan for working on desire. The Fight, as well as many other series, are available at theshmooze.com or on the Shmooze app for iPhone or Android.